All right, the panel discussion topic is on intelligent automation. What's new, what's next, and what's your business needs to know about it. And we have moderator as Alok Tripathi, founder and CEO RPATech. We have with us Dharmendra Singh, Senior Director, Platform and Innovations from AST Corporation. We also have with us Nilabdhi Samantray. I have not been able to hear him. So Nilabdhi, please unmute yourself. So Nilabdhi is head of Data Science and AI from CSM Technologies. We also have with us from Infogain, Amol Tambay, Principal Business Advisor. So Nilabdhi.
Hi.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well now.
Okay.
So seems like some technical glitch with Alok. Sometimes online also have their own troubles to give it. So we are trying to resort that. In the meantime, if any one of you can speak about the topic, that would be great. And I will check with Alok. Dharmendra, please take up.
Sure. Yeah, so this panel discussion is about what's new, what's next, and how organizations should deal with it, right? So what they should do. So I think everyone has a different perspective on how RPA is taking over the entire automation, and that's where this topic makes a lot of sense. And it is not RPA is new. It is being more and more advanced, and bringing AI into mix. It is now bringing the cognitive skills to the system. So yeah, so today's topic, once Alok is in, we can go through it. Meanwhile, what I would say, we can introduce ourselves. So myself, Dharmendra Singh. I'm working as a senior director in AST Corporation, having 22 years of IT experience, and currently leading hyper automation practice, which basically primarily RPA and AI. In the past, I worked with Wipro and Oracle. So this is all about me, and I'm looking forward to this discussion and understand different perspective from all the panelists. Anyone wants to introduce yourself? Amol?
Sure. Hi all, this is Amol. I'm a principal business advisor with Infogain, and I have 18 plus years of experience. I've been leading the digital transformation and automation advisory business transformation projects over here. So looking forward for this particular discussion and looking forward to hear different views. I think we all being practitioners, everyone would have their own experiences, which would be interesting to share over here. Thanks. Nilabdhi.
Hi, thanks, Amol. So I'm Nilabdhi Samantray. So I have close to 20 years of experience in the IT industry, and I'm currently with a company called CSM Technologies. I had the data science and AI, as well as all the emerging technologies in this organization. Emerging technologies predominantly includes robotic process automation, blockchain, AR, VR, IoT, apart from data science and AI. Prior to being in CSM Technologies, I was with IBM. I was heading a practice, that is the data analytics practice. We used to call it business analytics and strategy. So the technology assembly center of that, I used to head in IBM. Prior to IBM, I was with other companies like Satyam, prior to Tech Mahindra Satyam, the original Satyam, as well as I was with Hewlett Packard and Agilent Technologies. That is brief about myself. And in my current organization, I do a lot of work for different government clients. So this is for the first time that I have been doing a lot of government engagements in my current organization. That's a brief about myself. Thanks.
Sure.
Do we have?
Go ahead. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so I think Amol and Dharmendra, you have spoken. I think we are missing Alok is supposed to join, right? Or
we can continue the discussion for the interest of the time, and once Alok joins, he can take over.
Yeah, in the meantime, do share your experiences on how RPA has transformed for you, or what's your present scenario with the RPA. I think that is what was the idea that Alok also had in mind. So let's continue with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe I will talk a bit about RPA in the government sector, because prior to CSM, I had never worked with the government sector in IBM and other companies, but here I do work. And it's very interesting that robotic process automation is gaining popularity across the government, across the world, and also in India, both at union as well as state government level. The key domains where we have been implementing RPA are the agriculture, food and security, mines and minerals, education, land and industry, among other industries within government. And this propelling was predominantly because of the COVID impact. It enabled a digital intervention more, and then the benefits of the ROI and the increase in citizen satisfaction index, they were the key driving factors to increase the productivity, efficiency, increased security, where there is a lesser margin of error vis-a-vis human intervention. All these were the driving factors to have RPA in the government sector. So more or less, the pandemic has driven more RPA acceptance in the government sectors, bringing in that transformation in the government, not only in India but across the globe. That is a brief about what it has done in the government sector. And within the government sector, just to highlight the key areas, as an example, within government, we have seen that there has been a lot of RPA intervention for the social media listening. State governments, they have used RPA with the intelligent automation or with AI to do a lot of monitoring of social media for public feedback on policies, for emergency situations, or responding back to the citizens, identifying any fraudulent benefit claims that can be addressed, a bit of crime prediction as well that has been done across different governments. More personalized education for students. These are one of the areas. Then social insurance service provisioning kind of a thing. So there are a lot of areas. The key areas being as we saw in the disease spread of COVID, that is where also a lot of RPA was used for the government. That's a brief bit about the different places where we have seen RPA along with AI that was used, or the intelligent automation that was used in governments, different government sectors. Brief about what we did here. So maybe over to Dharmendra, Amol, if you want to add something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Alok has joined us. So Alok, if you can hear us, can you please unmute and...
I was asking that how the industry is currently taking RPA, and what is the adoption currently in the industry? Can you throw some focus on that in the current scenario?
Yeah. So I think RPA more than ever before is being actively being embraced by all industries, both public, like whether we look at, if we look at the sectors, whether it is the financial sector, whether it is the communication sector, where there is media and entertainment, telecommunication, across. As an example, I will give you an example. One of the clients which I had in the past, I was working for one of the media clients that was for Pearson. So they do a lot of contract management. So wherein there are 100,000 contracts, to have read through all the contracts in order to get the royalty renewed and other things. The manual task is really very, very difficult. And that is where we had proposed an RPA solution along with an AI. I was an IBM at that point of time. So Watson AI and RPA put together, we had created using a Bluehound solution. We had Watson and Bluehound. We created a contract management solution, which was a intelligent automation, wherein the intelligent automation would read through the contracts, the 100,000 contracts, and it will recommend what is the renewal date of the contract, what is the royalty to be paid, when is the royalty to be increased. So all those things which was manually almost a kind of an impossible thing, the system now did that. So this is one of the examples. That is media and entertainment. Similarly, in telecommunication, or it is energy and utility, or mines and minerals, which I currently work in, we do a lot of RPA automation, wherein as simple as things like when a truck moves into, takes its tire weight and then loads the ore and then takes a gross weight. All of that, which is captured in the weighbridge, is being an RPA bot takes it and integrates it to the automatically captures it from the screen, integrates that with the source database and the server to generate a permit pass. So this is where at the level of a very manual area, which is mines and minerals, there is also a place where we had done a lot of automation using RPA. So as you can see, whether it is a financial sector or it is a communication or public sector, across sectors and industries, RPA is no more a high-end thing. Rather, it is a very much current adopted technology across the industries. And the RPA without AI it will not be self-running, and that is why when we integrate the artificial intelligence into that, then based on the corpus on which an RPA is formed, it automatically learns from the corpus, so that any future similar kind of problem is auto solved by the RPA. So that's a brief about answering how
So
it is.
Nilabdhi,
Yeah.
Thank you, Nilabdhi. We will come back and moving on to Amol. So Amol, I would ask the same question from you. That what's your point of view of current adoption of RPA?
Sure, Alok. I think Nilabdhi had pretty much covered an industry perspective, which is exactly what we are also witnessing at our end. But when we are interacting with different industries, more like an industry agnostic view, I think you come across these customers who are at a different stages of automation adoption.
And your point
Yeah,
of
right.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
still you do come across these customers who are yet to, who had been talking high on the automation, but they have not yet implemented it or not had yet utilized automation or RPA at that full stretch. So that's where, you come across these customers where there are these possibilities of identifying the low-hanging RPA use cases, if I may say, at the front office and the back office departments. But more or less in a typical industry, in the typical customer phases where they have adapted the automation RPA, I think we are also looking at using RPA along with AI and ML to really give the ROI benefit and the business benefit in those use cases. That would be my say.
Yeah, you are in and out, Alok, so can't hear you consistently.
So
Alok was asking what is the adoption for
mean,
your industry experiences so far, Dharmendra?
Okay.
and the typical challenges that you face.
Yeah, okay, got it. So adoption, the looking from the customer side, still it is a very nascent stage. The problem is everyone thinks it's a threat than the opportunity, and that's where the main problems are. And key things where the organizations are failing is basically there are a couple of things. One is you have to identify the right use case, right automation opportunity. If because it's a transformation, you are changing entire transformation, and nobody will let you do if any process is running and they see the benefit. So the opportunity, the candidate which you pick for automation definitely should be giving the benefit. It should not be just run in silo. It should be interdisciplinary in action, which impacts multiple processes, multiple departments across the processes. So usually organizations they just pick up very small item, and later on, since this being first implementation, always there are challenges, and people think it takes a lot of time to do the most important one, and that's where pushback starts coming. So it is very important to prioritize the right opportunity which you want to automate. That is one thing. Second thing is where the challenges are being posed is usually now there are a lot of data. Every system, every devices, it's all generating data. So yes, we have multiple mechanism to collect the data, but data without context doesn't solve in the purpose, right? For example, if you want to collect customer data for any particular organization, so sales marketing team will be collecting the data based on the events and campaign they run. Sales team's data will be quite biased towards what they see with the interaction from customer. A customer success team or the support team's customer data would be something related to ticket or chat what they have captured. So if data is not stitched right, and then you can't form any opinion in how you want to merge your AI capability into the RPA, right? So that is another challenge where the data, stitched data, is missing and without context, right? So you have a lot of data, big data, but without context, it doesn't serve the purpose. Another thing where the challenges are, you're changing a process, right? So change management is one of the things, because people, if you start taking as a threat to their job, right, that's where the most of the challenges start. So we have to tell them that, okay, if machine does it, it should not be perfect. If you do it, you're not efficient. How can a machine with human combination solve a purpose so that machine takes up the more automated or more repetitive tasks, and the human takes up the value added task, right? So this is where the change management has to be, basically they have to align the team, otherwise this will not sail through. There are other items like complexity in the process. Then you will not get all the right resources, because you need data architect, you need the RPA, then the developer, all those other challenges. But these are the three which I talked about are basically, even though there is opportunity, but it is pushing the adoption back, Alok.
Thank you, Dharmendra, for pointing out those things. And change management is, I also believe, is one of the areas that we start. Back to you all. We have been talking about AI infusion in RPA. I want to understand from you, from the perspective of audiences, that what is hyper automation and how it is different.
Sure. I think, being in this particular industry, not only me, but even the panelists and so many out there who are listening to us, there are so many terminologies which come and go. So first of all, let me set the context, as in when we talk about hyper automation, what do we mean by that? So hyper automation is nothing but a business driven approach, right? Like I was saying, that there are organizations who had moved way ahead from identifying and automating those, low-hanging use cases. They are, they are looking out to ensure that what in a best way they can automate the processes which cut across these cross-functional departments, right? Across departments. Let's talk about hire to retire. From the time you start identifying the candidates, you try to onboard that particular person, then you talk about the salary, the appraisals, until the time he or she exits the whole life cycle for that particular organization. So I think there is a need, like my fellow panelists also mentioned, in addition to RPA, there is also a need what in a best way you can automate the services, the data, which is there in your organization by having RPA as a central piece, and by trying to club it along with the low code application, you're trying to bring in the BI and all these different nuggets to really achieve that goal, a holistic view of automation, which is called as an hyper automation. So I think that's pretty much in. In fact, even if we try to look at the platform offerings, like let's not call any particular call out the names of any particular platform, but if you really look at the platform offerings these days, everyone is trying to include they have been providing the automation platform more like an RPA platform, but they are maturing to the next level of even introducing discovery tools like task mining tool, right, process mining tools. Everything has been incorporated in their portfolio offerings. So I feel the platform offerings are also maturing, looking at the way the whole the expectations are there from the customers in the market. But I would be open and to hear more views from my panelists, or Alok, from you on this point.
Thank you, Amol. You rightly have said that there are multiple terms in industry. Hyper automation, one of them. Hyper automation is more popular than others. Sometimes it is also referred as intelligent automation. Coming back to the intelligent piece of it, AI and all. So, Nilabdhi, my question to you was that how AI is being used in the government sector, and what is the penetration of intelligent automation in the government sector?
Okay. Yeah. So today, RPA as such, there is adoption of RPA across all government sectors, different state governments or central government, both in India and across the globe. It is pretty much active. The intelligent automation adoption is not as much as the RPA adoption has been done. So the task which is repetitive, they are getting automated using the RPA. But slowly but significantly, the AI part of integration with the existing RPA is being done, or the intelligent automation is also being taken up by different government sectors. As an example, I said wherein we want to look at some kind of emergency. For example, if there are some emergency calls that has to be taken care of. One of the examples would be one of the clients from Cincinnati Fire Department in US. They wanted to classify the call based on how urgent they are. So those classification needed a intelligent automation or the RPA with AI kind of a solution. Then if we want to do a detection and prevention of spread of disease, so that is also where you have to do a lot of AI intervention for the necessary SIR mapping and the required algorithm that has to be written to ensure that we get the correct algorithm and spread of disease, or the social media or monitoring, and if there's specific feedback that has to be addressed on policies. So government has started adopting a lot of intelligent automation as well. Although RPA, pure RPA without AI has been adopted over the years, it's been pretty much in governments, but the intelligent automation is of late is being adopted by different governments. That's just to answer your question.
Thank you, Dharmendra. Coming back to Dharmendra, I would now shift the focus to future of intelligence. So, what a view on that? I would like to hear from every panelist. That what is the future of RPA, given that it is they call it intelligent automation, hyper automation, AI is taking over. There is a lot of amalgamation of different technologies. So could you throw some light for the audiences that where we are heading? What is the future of intelligent automation?
Sure. So future of intelligent automation, hyper automation, it's all happening because now we have one is basically the automating the repetitive task, and another is bringing cognitive skills to the system. And bringing cognitive skills to the system is way too tough a job, right? Even though we say we can bring it, even 5% of a job which a rat do, we are still not able to automate that, right? And that's where most of your challenges in terms of data science comes into picture. So when AI and RPA works together, right, it can bring a lot of things. Yes, there are still to be done. But what exactly it can bring in is like there are lot of automation related to paper forms, all those can be taken care of. And where the future is heading towards in terms of automating everything, right? Starting from your paper form, starting from your predictions, because and even some of the technology which are outdated but is still there in the system, they also can be used for automating some of the thing, right? Using computer vision is you can read AS400 systems, right? So all those are possible through some advancement of AI and ML. That is one part. Second part is the cloud adoption has increased so far, and most of the RPA products which were on-prem now moving to cloud, and this brings the cost down for anyone who's planning to adopt or bring RPA and AI into system. So the total cost of ownership is definitely low in those cases, because all the products now they are offering multi option to have the entire system on the cloud. The third part, what is making one more thing I would like to add. The third part, which I think Amol also mentioned, it is making the automation from the start itself, right? Even the bring right of likes of process mining, right, and task capture from which is offered by some of the vendor. Um, your requirement gathering process can be automated using these tools. So that's where now the hesitancy what earlier was, that has gone now, and people are more open to take it to the next level.
Okay. I would like to hear more views on this, that where is the future is going, and also what is your takeaways from your consulting engagement so far?
Sure. I think let me try and club both of them in one go.
Yeah.
If you, I think when you're marching towards a particular goal, you need to be very sure that you have a plan in place. Often I've seen that when we talk about the organizations, they have either started the whole automation wave in a transactional fashion, or with a short-sightedness, right? So I think having the very clearly defined goals and objectives of the automation is very important. That's one. Second is when we talk about the PPT, like people, process, and technology. On people front, there is a need not only to restrict this whole initiative between the COE members or the IT team, but even to involve the fusion teams. By that I mean people coming from from the business side, trying to bring in the customer centric approach. On the processes, there is a need to have a holistic view. Probably I'm reiterating, but trying to have a holistic view of trying to automate, not a very transactional thing, but trying to see in what best possible way you're trying to automate end-to-end processes. And on the technology, there is need to do more with less. So it is not only restricted to RPA, but the COE, the automation advisors and the practitioners need to look for that. In addition to RPA, what else you can club together to get more momentum and more ROI or business benefits.
Good points. Good points, Amol.
Yeah, thanks.
And from takeaways, what do you think? Which are the technologies, like, for example, process cloud, or the next gen technology, which can be uh, more popular to use with intelligent automation?
See, definitely AI/ML is gaining a lot of momentum. We have automated a marketing process of onboarding the property vendors, where this task of identifying the amenities listed in each of these rooms, right? They were done manually, but we tried to plug in the AI/ML logic, which just by looking at those sample images of your home or home stays, it automatically detects that whether that particular room has a refrigerator, whether that particular room has all those basic amenities. It goes way beyond not only automating a particular process, but even integrating or infusing AI/ML to do more, right? Second is like I think like I mentioned some time back, and even Dharmendra shed a light on it, talking about the requirement gathering or requirement elicitation. You have particular audience who says, I want to automate particular functions, where you try to run discovery workshops, or you try to run the task mining, you try to utilize the task mining tool to identify or to shadow the sessions of those business users. But like I said, process mining is slowly and gradually is coming into this wave, not only with a view that all the candidates which would be discovered through process mining tool would be automated. They would also be primarily be, the processes which need to be re-engineered. But definitely, I feel these tools which are used at a discovery stage would add more would really accelerate the process and give a little broader view.
So yeah, sure. I think I heard Dharmendra and Alok, and I think that was a very good perspective which was shared by both of them. And as Amol had said, these days we hear a lot of jargons like what can be automated has to be automated. So it's something like that which goes for the hyper automation. And of course, there are a lot of marketing leaders for RPA who do a lot of intelligent automation, whether it is a UiPath or it is Automation Anywhere or IBM Automation, which was primarily Blue Prism and all. But of late, there is a lot of customization, which is I think Dharmendra had also covered. So a lot of customization is the need for every case has a different need. And open source RPA is something which is taking a lot of precedence these days, wherein we see a lot of Python and R kind of scripts, where we see the licensing of Apache, and there are open source RPAs like Robot Framework or Tag UI or Tag KT, Task KT kind of things, UI Vision. Those are the things which has come up and taken up a lot of market. So to conclude, RPA and intelligent automation or RPA with AI is something which is the future, because RPA without the intelligence will not be of much help as it is with the intelligence or the AI or the self-learning and improvising is what we are looking forward as the next thing that would be happening in the RPA world.
Right.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nilabdhi. Abhilasha, do we have time to take questions from?
Yes, of course. We have 5 minutes, Alok. Let's open the forum and have some more discussion from the from the audience as well. Is there any perspective that you'd like to add, or anything that you've heard would like to have a detailed discussion on that? So please feel free to unmute yourself or type out something that you want to ask any expert here.
Looks like we had a great session and everyone understood. So no questions from the audience now.
So if audiences are not asking questions and am I audible properly, so I would like to again reiterate the future where the RPA is heading, along with the AI inclusion in the RPA. Our panelists have stated that more AI, BI, and cloud is being included with the RPA offering, and things are becoming very easy now to implement RPA. There have been multiple use cases. I also heard that marketing processes are being also automated, and that is a good news. The penetration in the government sector of RPA is again, generally we assume that government is the adopt things later, but today in Indian government is specifically a lot of focus on emerging technology, and it's good to hear that RPA is also being adopted there. Process mining and AI fabric is also being seen by the and told by the panelists that those are the some things which are making easier to AI fabric to automate, which was not automable earlier. Process mining is something which is helping in discovery of the processes and task mapping, and that is seen adoption. The other thing that came up, that availability of RPA and cloud platform has made it cheaper and more accessible for organization. And this has been a very nice journey of last, let's say, starting from 2012, and it existed much earlier also. But the kind of maturity RPA today has gained in enterprises, it has become much more mature technology and able to solve much bigger problem apart from just doing surface automation. So that's my takeaway from this panel discussion. My esteemed panelists, if you want to add something, please free to add on what I said, or if you have any additional point to say. Otherwise, it has been very good session. Everybody kind of understood. I again apologize for my erratic connectivity. And let's, I will go one by one. Amol, do you have anything to add on what I'm saying?
I think you pretty much covered it, and it was a great session to hear these different perspectives, especially coming from different experiences. So for me, I'm sure I'm not, I'm sure even the audience would be thinking about it, but it was a great session to know different perspectives. Thanks.
Thank you, Amol. Dharmendra, do you have something to add? I again thank you for putting those perspectives. If you want to add something, please do that in this last minute.
Sure, Alok. So yeah, so you mentioned government sector. Nilabdhi also mentioned the government sector. Yes, there are pushback initially, but government sector are the ones which will have more candidates to offer or adopt RPA. In a RPA primarily, AI is the enabler, because any government, they will have set processes, right? And if you have set process, you're bringing the automation is much easier. So this is my 1 cent.
Okay, thank you. Nilabdhi, any last minute addition?
I think Alok, you, Dharmendra, and Amol pretty much covered it. And thanks to the wonderful audience and you, Alok, Kriti, everyone else. It was a great session. Thanks.
Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you so much for giving insight into RPA current and future. Over to you, Abhilasha.
Thank you, Alok, Dharmendra, Amol, and Nilabdhi. It was a pleasure having you all.
Thanks, Abhilasha.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abhilasha. Thanks, Alok, and thanks everyone who joined. And thank you.
Thank you.
After the panel session, it brings us to a break session. And after that, we will be resuming with our speaker session, starting with Kedar Dev from Larsen Toubro Infotech. So join again after the break. The session begins at 2:15 p.m. And post the lunch session, we'll have my co-host as Maninder, who will be taking up further from here. So Maninder, are you there? So please take it up from here now. Thank you. Thank you, Maninder. Over to you,
Abhilasha. Thanks, Abhilasha. Thanks for your time. So now we'll take a break and resume at 2:15, as already mentioned by Abhilasha. So meanwhile, you can grab a snack and enjoy a break. So we'll catch you soon. Thank you.